Hello, my name is Mike, and welcome back to my playthrough of The Royal Trap, Confines of the Crown. You join me trying to break into the royal treasury to assist a prince with finding his sister. This is just one step in the grand plan of trying to find the princess who may have been kidnapped by... I've got 4 suspects at this point. Of course, I think the princess herself could also be a possibility, but the other 4 that I'm thinking of are her brother, the 2 other princes that are in this castle, and the duke that is unliked. I don't have much information on the unliked duke, and I'm not sure I trust Prince Gaston. He made a good impression the first time we met him, but he might be a little too perfect. The other one, Prince Nizagi, we investigated him last episode and didn't find much of anything. We learned he wears glasses and is a bit of an alchemist, and that's about it. He didn't seem like he was hiding any secrets that were really dastardly, so he's fallen off my radar in terms of suspects. However, the princess's brother that I'm working with right now, I'm not entirely sure I trust him. He just happened to have a ransom note that we hadn't heard about, and now he wants us to break into the royal treasury, even though it's, I guess, his treasury. Something about this just feels off, but I'm going to go along with it. My foot catches on the edge of the plush-length carpet, throwing me to the ground with a thump. Well, hopefully they won't hear me because the carpet is so thick. I don't cry out all that loudly. I've only tripped after all. It's nothing serious. I'll just climb back to my feet. Ow! And that is when I first attempt to put weight on my left... Oh, I've broken my left ankle! Is that a fracture? This time the noise I'm making is enough to draw the guards a few steps away from his post. Well, I've got that distraction that the prince wants. Are you alright, miss? I'm fine. I wave him away and try again to place my foot on the ground, then pull it back with a sharp hiss and clutch at the wall for support. Is he watching me struggle with this? He might notice something is up. I distinctly do not look at the guard, but male instinct prompts him to step a little closer to my obvious distress, even if it's a little false. Oh, I'm faking a broken ankle. Can you walk? I'm not sure. I'll call for another guard to help you to your room. No, please don't. I'll be alright, I just need to rest for a few minutes. You can't rest here, miss. You can't walk on your own, I'll have to summon someone. I don't want to be a bother. It is my duty. No need. And Prince Callum walks out of the treasury, which he had entered earlier, in full view of the guard, under the pretext of returning a bit of royal jewelry worn at the ball. Ah, clever. Long, smooth strides bring him swiftly to my side and avoid the possibility of any inconvenient jingling. Wow. I'm impressed he was able to smuggle 2,000 gold pieces out of the treasury in that cloak. I will escort this young woman. Yes, your highness. Callum bends, bringing his shoulder to a level where I can more easily fling a grateful arm around them. As he straightens, his support pulls me against him, not so coincidentally helping to conceal the faint bulge produced by stowing a large bag of coins. Aha. He nods to the guard. Carry on. And we leave the man to lock the door behind us now that the gold has already flown away. Well, that seemed easy enough. We keep up the charade on our return to Oscar's quarters, in case of observation. Caution costs nothing except my pride. I cannot help but feel strange, clinging as I am to the body of a man I barely know, a prince of hidden schemes and unpredictable violence. Callum is muscled, stronger, and more solidly built than Oscar, and pressed so close to me that I can feel the heat of his flesh. Oh, alright. My duties to my prince have not left me time for much experience with the rougher sex. The support of his arm should, I suppose, make me feel safe and protected, but instead leaves me off balance and vulnerable. This is good. If my character is starting to fall for Prince Callum... No. I'm getting ahead of myself. There's no way. I'm just a noble. It would be easy in this position for him to accidentally brush, to slide a possessive arm around my waist, to belittle me for the helplessness I have been made to feign, and yet his hands never stray. Failure to act like an odious brute at every opportunity does not make him a hero, it only means that he is, at worst, not that sort of villain. What kind of man is Prince Callum? So far he's revealed little but anger and ruthless determination. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to be the hero too, rescue the princess so that he looks so mighty. He could not be rewarded with his sister's hand, of course, but the story would travel. If that is his plan, it would make no difference to him if Oscar were to receive a small bit of the glory. Unless he faked the whole thing. What if the prince and the princess are working together? But rationally, is the chance of playing hero worth the risk he took by attacking myself and Oscar by threatening murder? Probably not. No. Callum is surprisingly rational. I shouldn't be so worried. The instant the door closes behind us, Oscar rushes to my side. Oh, he still cares, of course. Madeleine! I'm fine, it was an act. I stand on my own 2 feet. Your assistance was competent. Thank you. I appreciate that. That sounds like a compliment coming from you. Is that supposed to be a thank you? But you can't thank someone for doing what you forced them to do, can you? Oscar, please. Oscar, it's alright. No, it's not. Yes, it is. He turns to face Callum. Are you done with her? Hardly. This is only the first step. We have the ransom. Now we have to reach the rendezvous. And where's that? Forest, couple of miles away. Outside the palace? Oh, the guards may have missed the initial intrusion, but they're guarding all the exits now. I'm feeling less and less confident about this plan. Which means you know a secret way out. He does, he nods. I hold my breath, anticipating an explosion, but when Oscar speaks, he's surprisingly well balanced. You're not taking her without me. I need a blade I can rely on. That means her and not you. I am not actually that bad with a sword. Whatever's going on, you expect it might end in a fight. Wouldn't 3 be better than 2? He's thinking it through. Good job, Oscar. Good job. If you really didn't trust him, you wouldn't want to leave him here while you're not even in the palace. Can he actually fight? Would you care to try me? I'm asking her, not you. I don't trust your judgment. He's a prince, of course he can fight. But is he good compared to, say, myself? Well, that question is a trap, plain and simple. Whatever I say, they will both hear it. Oh, God. Don't. Don't. Oh, good grief. Alright, what are my options here? He is good in a fair fight. Alright, that's good. He's not as good as you. That would belittle Oscar. He's better than you. Well, that would belittle Prince Callum. I think the only option I have here is he is good in a fair fight. I mean, I kind of want to say he's not as good as you to kind of distance myself from Oscar, put him down a little bit more, so he loses some of his attraction for me, if he has any left. But I don't want him to be even more discouraged, so he is good in a fair fight. He's good enough in a fair fight. Fairness may be in short supply. He won't embarrass you if that's what you're asking. I'm not certain whether or not it's a good idea to take Oscar along. It depends on what Callum's plans really are, and that is a question I can't answer. Yeah, I kind of do want to take Oscar with me because I still do not trust Prince Callum the slightest. With all the secrets and schemes going on here, I'm not sure that leaving Oscar behind would be safer. Yeah, there was a lot of unknown factors in this. I don't know. Either way, it's dangerous. At least we're on the same page here. Callum I cannot trust, but Oscar I could never doubt. Good, yes. That is something I wholeheartedly agree with. He blows out a breath. I suppose it will have to do. You may accompany me, but without your sword. I will decide if you should have one. Oh, feeling nervous about this. Just remember who's in command here. Whatever you see or hear, you do what I tell you. I understand. Callum looks at me. I expect you to keep an eye on him. I always do. Alright, if Callum is willing to allow Oscar to accompany me, then maybe it's not as bad as I thought. Yeah, he wouldn't have any qualms about killing some noble like me, but killing another prince, that would definitely be a problem. Well, then again, he did just threaten to murder Oscar about 20 minutes ago, so I don't know. If he betrays me, he will pay. Oh yeah, that's right, Callum's not our friend. Should I fetch a purse then? No, not funny. She doesn't like my jokes. She doesn't like my poetry either. Would you like to hear some? Will you be quiet? See, we're getting along fine. Yes, crack jokes. It eases the tension, and it will only serve to make Callum happier. So you have the ransom and you have your backup. Where do we find the secret exit? And how certain are you that it is still secret and unguarded? What if someone's been using it? The entrance is hidden and known only to the royal family. You know, like the princess. The door beyond it is kept locked. If everyone in the royal family knows about this hidden entrance, and only the people in the royal family know, then the guards wouldn't be guarding it, but the royal family could sneak out, including the princess, or maybe the troubled queen, I don't know. If you get through that, you end up somewhere that most people would not want to go. The sewer maybe? That's my guess? Or a dungeon of some sort? The underground tunnels that Callum led us to are choked with rubble and spiderwebs. It is visibly obvious that no one has been this way in a long time. The entrance was the worst, the stones overhead cracking and crumbling and threatening to collapse at any moment. We've moved along, and the state of repair has increased, but so has the unpleasant atmosphere. The air down here is fetid. The insects are constantly flapping at the edges of our torchlight. What is this place? Hundreds of years ago, when customs were different, these were the Catacombs. The bodies of those who died in service were laid here to rot, so that even in death, their spirits would remain beneath their masters. That's awful. It is the way things were. When times changed, parts of these tunnels were reworked into a sewage system that feeds into the river. So if it smells like corpses and feces, don't be surprised. It is a morgue/sewer. That explains the bugs and the smell. Watch yourself, little prince. Where there are insects, there are spiders, and some of them bite. As we ease along a narrow stone ledge, Callum's shoulder comes into contact with a bit of loose rubble in a wall niche and knocks it out of place. A pale-bellied snake, dislodged from its slumber, falls onto his arm and begins to writhe. Gah! Calmly, Oscar reaches over and scoops the snake off Callum and onto the floor, where it slithers away. You were saying? Oscar? Don't worry, those aren't poisonous. If red touches yellow, you're a dead fellow, but this one was red touching black, so you're okay, Jack. Is it actually dangerous down here? It isn't safe, but I wouldn't have brought you if I expected it to be fatal. Did you explore here as a child? No. Well, once. There's nothing to see but rocks and bones and filth. There wasn't any point. No hidden treasure, huh? Who would leave anything precious among the bodies of dead peasants and feces? Their families, maybe. Their families were peasant families. They would have nothing of value. Unless they'd stolen it from their masters, and then they'd keep it for themselves. Thieves are not generous. Oh, you're such a cynic. Gah. There was once a sourpuss from Gwellinor, who postured and puffed till he was good and sore. Do you ever stop talking and reciting terrible poetry? Well, sometimes I pass out. Once we leave these tunnels, it is imperative that we remain silent. There may be guards on watch. If you can't handle that, turn back now or you'll have us all shot. Oscar's only joking with you. He wouldn't put us in danger intentionally. In the distance, I hear a kind of rustling. What was that?
Bats. This is bat country. We can't stay here.
As predicted, the dank tunnels eventually give way to a natural brook, gurgling quietly in the night. Oh, it's very peaceful. Behind us looms the deceptively calm shadow of the palace, too far away for us to see the patterns of the guards, or for them to see us. This is unknown territory, far from the roads that Oscar and I traveled. Not even a path can be seen amongst the grass and trees. We must rely upon Callum to be our guide. He motions us closer and speaks in a low tone. Keep an eye out for centipedes. The bite won't kill you, but your screams will draw notice. With no further explanation, he moves out, leaving us to follow. When we were kids, Oscar and I would play outdoors. Oscar in particular always loved climbing trees and games of cache-cache in the forest. Thus, I know how to place my feet to avoid making too much noise, and which bits of brush are most likely to hide creatures who will retaliate for being disturbed. Callum leads us along the water's edge in silence for some time, and eventually stops by a grassy bank. We'll set up camp here. Oh, I guess we're camping. What about the rendezvous with the 2,000 gold? It's tomorrow. We're spending the night out here. Why did we sneak out if the rendezvous is not till tomorrow? Was that not obvious? If it had been obvious that we were going to be camping out here, we could have brought supplies, blankets, food from the kitchen. Dinner is over. How many meals a day do they eat in your town? We eat a good breakfast before a hard day's work, or a fight. It's alright. Once the sun's up, we can hunt for plants. And with the stream right here, we could even fish. With no hook, line, or net? Maybe not. Well, we can still find food. It'll be fun. This is not fun! Then what is it? If you told us more about what you were planning, we'd be able to help you out. You know enough! You know, she promised not to ask questions, but I didn't.
I am not interested in your nattering.
All I want to do is help Cassidy. You understand that, don't you? I liked her, and I let her down. I couldn't protect her. I owe her the best that I can give, and to do my best, I need to know what you know.
You don't need anything.
Please? Not even Callum can hold up against those puppy dog eyes forever. I know I can't.
Fine, ask your questions, but I don't promise to answer.
Do you know who it is that has Cassidy?
No, but it doesn't matter.
The political...
This isn't politics. This is a crime about coin.
How do you know that for certain?
You don't need to know.
What are you expecting to happen tomorrow?
We find the location ahead of time and the two of you put yourselves out of sight and stay there. They expect me alone. If we are betrayed, if Cass is in danger, you are my reserves. If everything goes by plan, then when Cass is safe, when they think they've won, you take them.
So you are double-crossing them.
You object? They are criminals. They don't deserve to get away with it.
No, I agree, but there's only 3 of us. There's a limit to how much we can do.
Plate pickers like these have no loyalty. I don't expect more than 1 or 2 at the most. If there's a full company, then don't waste your strength. If they are few, then show no mercy.
Understood. He's making a lot of assumptions about these assailants. I'm not sure entirely... Yeah, he's making assumptions and I don't believe that he's correct.
You should get some sleep. We'll need to be up at dawn to find our position. Especially if you expect to forage for food.
I'd better find some leaves for a mattress. The 2 young men walk off in different directions, leaving me alone. So far, this doesn't seem to be turning out too badly. Well, yeah, not yet, but the worst is yet to come. If Callum's telling the truth, which he doesn't even know if he is, because he's just making a bunch of blind assumptions, then tomorrow we should be able to save Cassidy and bring her home safely. The palace will be in a panic from a night's searching, but with the prince and princess beside us, we'll be greeted as heroes. If. Oscar is sitting by the stream. Despite what he said earlier, he doesn't seem to be assembling a bed, just staring into the rippling surface of the water. Alright, he's feeling nervous. He's probably going to ask me about Cassidy, maybe about that necklace I chose not to wear. Hello. Hi. Aw, that's sweet. Mindful of the damp, I take my time, choosing a seat beside him. You did well with Callum. You put him at ease. You got him to open up to you, at least a little. Without your help, I wouldn't have any information at all. I do listen to you, you know, in all those lessons. Just because I don't want to spend my life manipulating people doesn't mean I can't do it. I never said you couldn't do it. No, but you were surprised, weren't you? You think I'm a child, and it's more fun sometimes acting like one. I don't think you're a child. No, then what is it? His eyes fell upon the spot where the amber stone would have hung if I had chosen to wear it. Why do you always turn me away? You said we weren't going to do this. That was then. That was before I had to listen to someone trying to kill you while I was helpless. How it felt to watch him force you into his hands, to stay behind while he took you away, to see you draped over him. It was nothing. I'm telling you how I felt. I thought I could be a grown-up and let you go without a fight, but I was wrong. We need to talk. Oh, no. No, my heart is hammering in my chest. We can't do this. Yes, either of these options are good. What about Cassidy? You're like your brother to me. How do I steer this conversation? We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket, so let's not say what about Cassidy, because maybe his feelings aren't as strong. After all, he didn't say that he felt romantic feelings for her yet. So let's neutralize it. You're like a brother to me. Oscar, it's not because you're younger than me. We're really not that far apart, I know that. You're closer to me than my own family. That's the problem. You're family to me. You're my best friend, but I can't be anything more than a friend to you. I just can't see you like that. Oh. I've been trying to discourage you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I want you to be happy. I want you to fall in love and marry someone who's a great match for you. And if I'm lucky, maybe I'll get to see your children someday. And I'll get to be Aunt Maddie to them. I don't want to lose you, but I can't be with you. I'm sorry, not that way. I guess that's that. I'm sorry. For what? For being yourself? For telling me the truth? For causing you pain? You can't stop me from ever being hurt. I can try. Isn't that my job? Maybe I don't need you in that job anymore. if that's what you want. So it's true, he does intend to marry Cassidy and leave me behind. Well, again, jumping the gun a little bit, but that would be good. I knew this was coming. I have to be strong. I stand up and brush myself off. Your idea about the leaves was a good one. I'd better find my own bed. Good night. Good night. And it's done. He's free and I can go on. Everything will be fine. The hours of night are spent sleeping fitfully among the sticks and stones. Years have passed since I last attempted to camp under the open stars, and I am not accustomed to it. Every noise startles me to alertness, the hum of the insects, the croaks of the frogs, the restless slumber of my companions, and the too early cries of birds. Each time I must still my heart and slip back into the darkness. I do need to sleep. When the sky begins to lighten, we arise. Oscar's scavenging turns up some bird eggs and wild asparagus, food that can be cooked quickly even without utensils. Neither Oscar nor I make any reference to our conversation of the night before. This morning, we are strictly business. Good! Yes, I love that. Once bellies have been filled and bladders discreetly lightened, a task considerably easier for my companions than myself, we are ready to seek the rendezvous point. Oh, it's a beautiful field. Callum leads us to a country road, his particular destination marked by a crudely carved milestone half buried in the verge. This is the place. Get yourselves out of sight. We could have hours yet to wait. Find a spot where you can be hidden and silent for as long as is necessary. His gaze falls on Oscar. If you can't do that, then get back to the river and stay there where you won't make a mess of things. I can do it. You had better be right. The princess's life hangs in the balance. Remember, the most important thing is that Cass is safe. Don't take any action that could endanger that. But once the way is clear, don't let those bastards get away. We got it. Oscar and I secrete ourselves into the brush. Making a nest for yourself is pretty simple, but doing it where you won't make a noise is more complicated. Even the most patient soul must shift position occasionally. It's not good for the body to do so otherwise. Callum's role in this is easier. He takes up a visible position on the road and pulls out a knife against a bit of wood and begins whittling at it. For now, there is nothing I can do but wait and think. Oscar, I am sorry that I had to hurt you. I hope that this will prove to be the best path for both of us. You've been my friend since we were children, but it's always meant to be a temporary situation. Both of us must learn to look past the comfortable and familiar in order to become what we are meant to be. It will be easier once Cassidy is safe. I'm sure she and Oscar will be happy together. After a long and uncomfortable wait, I hear the sound of footsteps on the road. Callum hears it too, but he holds his position and waits for the newcomer to approach him. Just one person? Waits for the newcomer to come close enough that Oscar and I may see without giving ourselves away. Who is it? Almost close enough. A single person in palace uniform? No, Dolores! I can't believe I kept your secret. The page stops a small distance from Callum, close enough to talk, far enough that he can't make a grab for her. She folds her arms insolently and waits. Do you have a message for me? Wait, I maybe do. Here's the message. Give me the gold. Dolores is working with the kidnappers. How can that be? She helped me, didn't she? The deal was a trade. Gold for the princess. No princess, no gold. Do you think I'm stupid, Lord Fancy Boy? Once you've got your princess back, what guarantee have I got that you won't go after me? That was exactly the plan, all right. She's crafty. I picked up on that earlier, but she's even craftier than I thought. You want her back, you play by my rules. And if I gave you the gold, what guarantee do I have that Cassidy is unharmed, or that you even have her? I'll take you to her. You throw me the gold, I'll guide you to where I left her, one step at a time. And keep your distance. You try to rough me up, and I'll lead you into circles till she starves. Half now, half when I see the princess. Don't worry, Fancy Boy, I don't want her on my hands. Had enough of looking after lords and ladies, I have. Half now, no more. Fine, throw it over. A sack of coins lands with a heavy clattering at her feet. She opens it to check the contents. Satisfied, she smiles. Go on with you then, that way. Keep moving and I'll tell you when to turn. Together they move into the woods. This is not good.
The only thing we can do now is try to follow them without making too much noise, and hope we can still be ready to spring on Dolores when she's delivered on her promise. I look around for Oscar to be sure he understands what must be done, and I find him making wild-eyed faces at me. There's no time, and we can't risk being overheard. We must rely on gesture. He points at his foot, waves his hands in a negative fashion, shrugs, and indicates that I should go on. Without him? I'm not sure what the problem is. Maybe he's caught somehow, or maybe he's neglected to shift position early and now his feet are too numb to stand or move quietly. Whatever the cause, he is out of commission. I will have to tail Dolores on my own. Good. The only person I can trust is myself. I creep through the brush, trying to keep both pale heads in sight while avoiding dry twigs and other giveaways. Callum is in the lead, moving slowly at Dolores' direction. She never gets closer, always maintains distance between them. Her caution means that, if not for my presence, she would have a fair chance at escape if she chose to run for it. It would depend on how quickly Callum could react. Would that be enough for her? She seems to be a cunning sort. Fleeing from Callum would be easier if he were temporarily distracted or injured. Could she be leading him into a trap? Before I can spin worse imaginings, she stops. May as well come out, Miss Nosy. Oh, no. I know you're out there, Osendower girl. I saw you with himself last night playing Broken Bird. Tricky. Now, I can wait here all day, but your delicate lady's all alone and helpless like. So get over here. I hesitate, trying to decide whether or not she's sure of my presence or just speculating at it. Come out, Valois. Well, okay, so much for that. I raise my hands and move noisily into view. Planning to turn on me, weren't you? A caution. You would have done the same. Maybe I would. Who's to know? I don't think she could have managed to hide her own allies in the same thicket we were hiding in earlier. But now that she is calling the shots, she might indeed be leading us to them. Get over there, next to him. Since Callum apparently wants me to play along, I obey her instructions and walk past her to stand beside him. The traitorous servant then produces a silk scarf, which he hurls in our direction. A silk scarf? Oh no, that could be Nazagi. Nazagi had scarves, right? I can't remember. Yeah, Gaston had the potion and Nazagi had the scarf. Tie yourselves together. Is this some sort of joke? You're the one playing Jester's tricks, fancy boy. Should have come alone. I've always wondered why you weren't dismissed from service. You are a terrible page. Well then, good that it's settled. Now do as I say. Arm or leg, I don't care. Callum picks up the scarf and extends his left hand to me. I'm not sure what he has in mind, but I place my right hand in it. He winds the scarf over and around and through our shared clasp, creating something that looks like a knot, but isn't actually. We are not tied, only tangled. Oh, a fake knot. Dolores can't quite tell what he's done unless she comes closer to examine it. And of course, she doesn't seem inclined to take such a step. Despite his brief show of resistance, Callum seems quite calm about the setbacks. Of course, he still thinks we have Oscar in reserve, and I cannot tell him that my prince has been left behind. We resume our course through the woods step by step. For good or ill, Dolores' voice is our guide. And then at last we see it, a splash of pink across the forest floor. Cass! Instinctively, he starts to move toward his fallen sister, and his motion tugs at our joined hands. That moment of distraction is what Dolores has apparently been waiting for. Abandoning us and the remaining half of her ransom gold, she turns to flee. Go! We rush after her as best as we can. It's not so easy as one might think to rush in a forest, particularly while bound at the wrists. We could, of course, pause for a moment and remove the silk wrappings, but that would require that we pause. We don't have time. Callum crushes my fingers in his grip, and we attempt a synchronized pursuit. She is one and we are two. In this terrain, that gives her the advantage. She's going to get away. We're losing! Use your knife! Break out the knife and cut the bondings! Quite unexpectedly, I hear a shout. It's Oscar! Somehow or another, he must have gotten himself loose from his predicament and tried to catch up with us, but now he's directly in Dolores' escape path. He's not bigger or faster than she is, but he's there and she can't swerve away in time. In one desperate leap, he tackles her to the ground, but that doesn't bring an end to it. Wrestling is not a sport that ever held Oscar's interest. With an angry woman in his grasp, a woman that has no qualms about using her knees and her teeth, he is completely ineffectual. A few painful moments for him, and she has struggled free. But by that point, it is too late. We have caught up. Oh, Prince Callum is pissed. Callum has a hand in her hair and an arm around her neck. This is the only payment you'll receive. Her eyes bulge as the pressure around her neck increases.
Stop! Don't kill her! I told you I wouldn't murder for you. We've caught her. That's enough. A traitor deserves death. So tie her up and bring her back to stand trial. Looks like you haven't told them. Her eyes roll back into her head and she sags into Callum's grip. No! She's only unconscious. What was she saying, though? Haven't told us what. He takes a deep breath and lets it out. So be it. Tie her up if that's what you want. We have to get back to Cass. Oscar and I bind Dolores' limp body with a discarded silk scarf. She is not a very substantial woman, more wiry than bulky, and easy enough for the two of us to carry. Dolores, was she the mastermind all along? Could she have really overpowered Oscar and spirited away Cassidy all by herself? I saw them struggling here in the forest. I can imagine she'd get the better of him eventually in a brawl, but disabling him too quickly to cry out, and then dragging the princess away, keeping her hidden? Leading me on a merry dance, spying on Callum, setting up a ransom... No. That's a lot to manage for a rough-spoken girl who's never progressed past the rank of page. She's got to have an accomplice. Yes, there must be more to her story than I'm seeing. Who sponsored her to royal service? Why hasn't she either been advanced or dismissed? Could she maybe have blackmail on royalty? Maybe on the queen? She's somebody's agent, I'm certain, but whose? And what is their part in this? And yet, Callum insisted that she was working alone and motivated by gold, not by politics. And the last thing Dolores said was that Callum hadn't told us the whole story. Could she be his agent and turned on him? So, back to the princess. We find Princess Cassidy quiet and unmoving at the base of a tree. Not a fairy tale girl in a glass coffin, this princess's hair and clothes have been snagged by leaf and twig. Her shoes are gone, her stocking is horribly stained. She's tied and blindfolded with more of those silk scarves. More silk scarves. The Nazagian specialty, right? There is a faint moaning noise, and Cassidy's head shifts. She's awake! Get her untied and sitting up carefully. Callum hangs back while Oscar and I help Cassidy to her feet and remove the blindfold. What? It's alright, you're safe now. We've captured the woman who kidnapped you. Safe? But... She ducks behind Oscar and raises a trembling hand. He's the one that kidnapped me! No, Prince Callum! She's pointing at Callum. You stole Princess Cassidy? No, not exactly. That is not Princess Cassidy. What are you saying? I would like to introduce you to my brother, Prince Caspian. What? Well, with that bombshell dropped on us, I guess I'll call that a part. Join me next time and we'll figure out what the heck is going on.